most, like the longest and most rewarding, fantastic interactions with some of my young players and their parents over the last couple of days. I know a lot of coaches, we say, and I think we reiterate a lot of negative perceptions and stereotypes about our connection with parents. You know, like there's a lot of things which happen which are not helpful, but then there are some things which happen, you know, the connection or the understanding or the just the working relationship with young players, and sometimes it's quite fractured, other times it's not, and it's fantastic. So I'm very grateful to have had, especially like today, my conversation was with a parent about our player, who she was, you know, worried that maybe he just needed to maybe change positions because he wasn't doing so well. And actually, a conversation I had with a parent yesterday was pretty much the same thing. He believed that maybe his son should change positions because he's not doing so well. And it's like, well, that's kind of not the way it is. It's not a case of this isn't working, so I'm going to do this. But why isn't it working? And what does not working look like to you? However, that's the question that I will use as like a tool to kind of elicit some deeper thought from people. Is that what does not good enough look like for a player of this age? And not just their biological age, but their age in the game. What does not good enough at this look like? So the parent that I was speaking to tonight, their version of not good enough, and maybe should try a different position and as a rationale, you know, because they're not really good enough in this. I just asked a few questions because obviously I'm a coach and we're meant to be observant. So I just pointed out a few things and asked a few questions like, did you notice that your son does this? Did you notice when he does this? Do you know what the other players of your son's age group or his peer group who play in a similar position, do you notice what they do? Each time it was no. So it's one of those where, do it. Have a look around. I was taught by my mentor, one of my mentors, that you should compare yourself to your peers. You know, just see how you're doing. Just look across and see how your peer is getting on or getting along, and you know, not a case of, oh, they're doing that, I should be doing that, but have some sort of a comparison so that you've got some sort of reference about how you're doing. They're doing that, I should be doing that, but have some sort of a comparison so that you've got some sort of reference about how you're doing. So I said to the parent, have a look at the other players in this peer group, not just at our club, but just have a look around. Maybe when we go to games or we've just finished games and you're there and there's a few games happening and it looks like the same age group, take a look. Take a look and see how they're operating. I'm so happy with your son. Here are the reasons why I'm so happy. He's doing this. He used to do this, he's now doing this. I asked him to vary this part of his performance. So if you notice that he's doing this and this and this now, do you know why? So he's going from that sort of transition and transference of knowledge about technique. Obviously he's very young, so there's not, you know, he's not proficient yet technically, but there should always be an element of tactical awareness with players, regardless of their age. There should be some awareness of pitch geography and where and when. There should be. If you're 8, 9, 10, we're not going to go straight into it with the old Pep Guardiola, Mourinho tactical, but we are going to go into expecting you to have some sort of awareness. So there's something that we can layer. We're not going to start from ground zero with you. There should already be something there tactically in terms of your vision and understanding and how you interpret pictures. And he's doing that. He's had to be prodded. I've had to say to him, hey, and he's doing it. He very rarely needs reminding. So before you start to say, I'd like him to change position because I want him to try something else, because I would say to a parent, as I have done, what does it look like to you, that description of the underperformance? What is not good enough? What is underperformance? Because I'm looking at the same player with the same situations, and then I'm thinking, what was this player doing 6 weeks ago, 3 months ago? What were they doing? What are they doing now? That's my bar. That's where I'm coming from. So I really appreciated the opportunity to have those conversations. I have to admit, the first conversation I didn't really like at all. I was like, what are you talking about? In my head, but visually I was like, So I didn't love the conversation, but it did teach me a lot. I did learn a lot from the conversation that I'd had earlier. My conversation today, I loved and loved and loved. So I think it's one of those where we've got to allow parents to feel that they have a platform to have that communication with us. And it's because they have such influence with the players and they're with them all the time and they're important. Yet, I think we should be quite firm with realigning their eyes, realigning their expectations. So what is you expecting? What is it you're expecting this child to do? You want them overnight, you want them to become what, like martyr? You want them to be overnight, oh, this is going to be the next amazing thing to the game. Overnight we've created Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, this is going to be the next De Bruyne. It's not necessarily going to be overnight, it takes time. We're not going to be super patient because we've got to prod some things, or we're going to be just pedestrian waiting for them to get there. We do a bit of prodding and pushing and pulling and giving them a bit of a shake once in a while. But it's once in a while. It's not joystick. It's not joystick management. It's not intrusive, dictatorial management. It's observation is so important. You may not say anything as a coach, but you need to see something. You need to see what the player is doing, what they're trying to do, the situations, the outcome, the reactions. And then we have to very patiently support the education of the parent or the guardian as well.